ready to retire or making plans to retire, we can do for you what we've done for hundreds of other retirees throughout New England. Live better in retirement. Just give me a call. I'll show you how. My toll free number is 877 772 1776. Again, that number is 877 772 1776. And you can visit us on the web at bostonindependencegroup.com. Bostonindependencegroup.com.
Italian cuisine served by some of the nicest folks you'll ever meet is at Ziti's Italian Trattoria. It's fine Italian cooking at the Speedway Shopping Center, 290 Turnpike Road in Westboro. It's like sitting down with your family for an authentic home-cooked Italian meal. From intimate dinners to catering for events of all sizes. From pizzas and calzones to classic Italian dinners. Every meal at Ziti's is one you'll remember. Head on.
She says, and yeah, she's
Showroom on Southbridge Street next to Coney Island Hot Dogs, and see why Girton Graphics and Awards has been the trusted choice for over 50 years. Call 508-754. Visit GurtonGraphics.com, GUERTIN graphics.com, or swing by today. Girton Graphics and Awards. We're still the one.
All right, folks, welcome back here to the second half of the Tuesday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show on AM 830 WCRN. Hey, you can join the conversation for the time we have left together at 508-871-7000. You know that by heart by now, I'm sure. 508-871-7000. And if you want to send a message, and when I say message, guys, I mean a message, a little tidbit of information, your wisecrack, whatever that is fine. Not a book. I mean, if you're sending me this dissertation, pick the phone up and make the phone call. It takes you more time to write that out than it does to pick up the phone and call. Some of these things I get, but those are usually the ones with all the name calling and accusations and calling me all those bad things that they do in the text, because they don't call up and do that live on the air, nor do they want to debate their issue. They don't want to defend their points. Yeah, I know. Exactly, man. You should be, if you feel something about something, some way, you should be able to defend why you feel that way. And where it usually falls apart is they regurgitate the talking points from CNN, MSNBC, or something. And when they're asked what do they mean by that, or point to an example of that, it all falls apart because they never ask that question. They never get the pushback.
Joe, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Whenever I answer the phone, I say pretty regularly the same thing, and that is, WCRN, what's your first name? Are you listening to the show?
Yeah.
Maybe I should start asking, do you have an original idea or question?
Well, we want callers. We got the standard callers, right? We got a group of people who actively participate.
A good group, a great group.
Right, they are. I'm saying on the text thing, just if you're going to write a book, pick up the phone and then be prepared to explain why you think these things. And you're not original. I've been called all those names a lot, and it means nothing to me. You're not insulting me. You're not going to make me come off the air. You're not going to make me cry. You're not going to make me rethink my life choices, guys. Trust me. Better people than you have tried. 508-871-7000 to join the conversation. Hey, let's go to Ken, who's been waiting patiently. Hey, Ken, what say you?
Joe, I got a smile on my face and I'm chuckling from Ted's sound effects because guess what? I grew up on a chicken farm. Literally.
I would love to have chickens. The eggs are the superfood, right? Think about the perfect. I mean, what a chicken. Chickens are like this awesome animal, a bird. It doesn't fly, so it stays there. It costs nothing to feed, and every day they're going to produce what is basically a superfood for you. Right? Talk about a great invention, God's invention of circle of life and food for us, Ken.
Well,
right?
now we know why the dinosaurs disappeared. They were so delicious.
Yeah. And they could feed a whole family, man, one of those eggs.
The only thing, Joe, is I didn't grow up on a hen layer of eggs. I grew up on a poultry farm of chickens where we grew them from anywhere from like 9-10 weeks to say 16 weeks. And then we took them to Providence from Connecticut. Yeah, Providence has a lot.
And they had a slaughterhouse there?
Well,
what do you call it with the chicken? Do you call it, I mean, I know you call it a slaughterhouse with the cattle. What do you call it with poultry?
Oh, well, see, we had, my dad had a market in Providence, the Italian section, at Wells Ave. And the interesting part, the end of his career into the 70s, you know who ate pretty much all the chicken? Were the Vietnamese who had left Vietnam, back in the 70s.
Chicken, yeah.
And they would buy the chicken live. and do it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the market back then.
I remember being very young, and Dad drove through. Do you remember back in the day, there was the red light, what do they call it? The combat zone in Boston. So we're talking the 70s, right? And 80s. It got cleaned up, right? So I forget who the mayor was that came in and said, well, what we should do, we shouldn't. One mayor said, let's concentrate everything in one area. And then another mayor said, let's spread it out over the city. But back in the day, we're talking 50 years ago, they used to call it the combat zone. But right there at the combat zone was Chinatown. And I remember walking or driving. My father had this big Cadillac and driving through and striking me because all these little Chinese shops, and I couldn't tell at that age if they were Vietnamese or Taiwanese or whatever. They were all Chinese to me. And all the markets that had the chickens with their heads missing in the windows, they just hung them in the windows with other various meats. And in this growing up in suburbia, our supermarket, everything was nicely packaged, right, with saran wrap and labels and stuff. To see shops as like a 10 or 12-year-old, you see these shops with chickens pinned up on these racks and stuff. It was a very, it was a new thing, right, to see that. And I didn't realize people operated that way. And right there in the shop, sometimes you kind of it was open, so it was an open thing, in and out. Same time, there they are, chopping the head off the chicken during normal business day like it's nothing. And that was something to see back in the day. Because remember, the combat zone used to abut Chinatown in Boston.
You know, you could go into Jack's and get a rubber chicken.
You could. Jack's Joke Shop in North Attleboro, Boston, Providence. That Jack's Joke Shop ended up, I think it's the Family Guy that it's on, right? Because Seth MacFarlane's a guy from Rhode Island. And they had that in the Cerrone Brothers dealership used to be on the Family Guy. And I used to do their commercials when I was at the station in Pawtucket. So yeah, he worked real stuff in Jack's Joke Stop, North Attleboro. I remember that place. Anyway, Ken, what'd you call for?
I called because it's very important. You're focused on the biggest issue in the media of the past couple of days, namely Mexico. And I don't watch the old, channels and the nightly news and, CBS. No. I gave that up 8 years ago, literally when Lester Holt was describing how wonderful North Korea is. And I said, that's it. I'm done. I'm not watching this anymore. And I refused. But I get the sense that they really aren't talking about Mexico much. And I think Mark was right on that. And I got a theory as to why that is. My theory is they are obsessed with 3 letters, ICE. And that's all they want to talk about. ICE, abolish ICE, abolish ICE, abolish ICE. And this would sort of mess up their narrative if they got, that's what that's why we have, maybe we do need ICE. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got to tell you, I think if we were, you're all paying attention, you saw this coming at some point. Because if you haven't seen the pattern, Ken, right, and I know you do, you see these patterns because you bring them up all the time. When Trump says something, don't brush it off. Understand, the man does not have the ability not to say something that's in his head. And so if he says something, as he has over the months, about Mexico, you got to know something's happening in Mexico, because that's just the way Trump is. And he has something in his head, and he already knows that he asked for, and he's already been briefed on multiple plans on how to address the cartels. Sure, with diplomacy, right? But also with no diplomacy. So those are all in his head. He knows what he's going to do if and when the time comes. And he has, to that point, Ken, offered help to the president of Mexico multiple times. Now, I saw something about her being flown off to a ship off the coast of Mexico. Now, once I realized, wait a minute, this is supposed to be her posting it. I'm wondering, is it AI, or are you not that intelligent that you would say, and would film yourself being flown on a helicopter out to a military ship off the coast and then post where your location is? Doesn't that defeat the purpose of it? Did you see this at all? And
No, I
I'm
can't
wondering,
say
is
how,
that
but-
AI or is she that stupid?
Or maybe she is smart in
Because
that
she got back on the
that's
helicopter
fine.
and left.
she needed to find a secure place.
Oh, absolutely. She should be in a
that
bunker.
happens.
But her problem is, as all politicians that can, who do you trust? Because everybody has a price. Everybody has a price. So
I think we also have to realize, Joe, this may be just the stage 2 of stage 1, stage 1 being Venezuela.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But you realize, let me see, what was going on with these drug boats? Now, where were the drug boats going? North? Oh, maybe the Mexican cartel was messed up now, too.
Well,
That's why they're so mad.
yeah, they were operating for the cartels. That was the whole point, right? Is that they were cartel boats and cartel boat drivers, and they were the cartel drugs on those boats. So let's look what's happening simultaneously. You have the sea routes have been eliminated because we blew out 20 something of them. 30 something people died. They can't get somebody to take a boat out, no matter how much money, because they know, America doesn't miss. If I take this boat out and their intelligence, which we've tipped our hand, we can trace the drugs on the boat right back to the cartel and where they were manufactured, how they got there. We know where the marina is, where they all are. We know who's on the boat, right? It's not like we find out who they are after we shoot and kill them. We know who the people on the boat before we shoot at them. So if you know all this, it is an absolute suicide mission. You have a 5%, 4% chance of living if we fire upon the boat. So they're not doing it. So we've totally messed up that route. But what happens if you shut down one route in a drug trafficking situation? They got to look to another route. Ken, I'm against the clock. You didn't get much to talk about what you wanted, so you're welcome to hold over in the break if you want to. We'll come right back to you on the other side if you wish to do that. But I do have to take the third and final break here on the Tuesday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show at AM 830 WCRN. 508-871-7000. To join the conversation, 508-871-7000. Back in 2 minutes, 10 seconds, folks. Stick with us.
Boston, are you ready for a show that's unique and different? Blind and Beyond Radio Show is the only commercial radio show in the world for the visually impaired and the blind community. We are the bridge between the blind community and the sighted community. This show is sponsored by Carroll Center for the Blind in Newton, Mass. Fun, informative, educational, with trivia prizes every Sunday night. Blind and Beyond Radio Show every Sunday night, 7 to 9 p.m. on WCRN, 830 a.m.
Looking for a station that brings you all sides of the story? Tune in to 50,000 watt powerhouse WCRN, where the left and the right meet in the middle. Whether you lean left, lean right, or just want to stay informed, WCRN has you covered with diverse voices, lively debates, and thought-provoking discussions. From politics and health to pop culture, you'll hear it all right here. Radio Central, where opinions from both sides come together for the conversations that matter. From the center of the dial, the center of New England, and the center of information, AM 830, WCRN, Radio Central.
Hi, I'm Dr. Eddie Arus from the Vascular Care Group with offices in Worcester and Sturbridge. I meet patients every week who tell me they've stopped doing the things they love, walking with friends, standing at their grandchild's soccer game, even going on vacation, all because of painful varicose veins, swelling, or fatigue in their legs. Now picture this, the same patients a few weeks after treatment, walking comfortably, smiling more, planning their next trip. That transformation is what drives me. We offer safe, minimally invasive outpatient treatments that get you back to life quickly. No overnight stay, no long downtime, just compassionate care and results that last. Because life's too short to sit on the sidelines when you could be living it fully. If vein problems are holding you back, let's change your story together. Call the Vascular Care Group or visit thevascularcaregroup.com to schedule your consultation. I'm Dr. Eddie Arus, and your next chapter starts with healthy legs.
All right, folks, welcome back. Fourth and final segment here. That went quick. On the Tuesday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show on AM 830 WCRN. Did Ken stick with us, Ted?
Yes, he did.
All right. What say you, Ken? I'll give you a chance to talk this time.
Well, we all should have, I started off talking about smile on our face and chuckling. This is good news. What's going on in Mexico? And it's not being told by the Marxist media because it's good news for Trump and Trump. So don't talk about it, Joe. Don't talk about it.
It's not great news for the Americans stuck on south of the border right now. So I hope we help get them all out, and the embassy does what they can. I haven't seen any, or I haven't heard or read anything about rumbles about evacuating our embassy. We do that if it's really bad, and if the cartels are bold enough to attempt to occupy the American embassy, I don't think Trump will hesitate. That's an act of war. It's not even, I'm not even going to say it's considered. It is an act of war. And I know that's a gray area because they're the cartel and not the military, but it depends on what the government's response to it is.
Well, there's no doubt if they get too out of hand, if they want a war, they'll get a war.
Yes.
We'll take the action that we.
It won't be a very long war, but it will be a war.
Because they're on our border. I mean, you don't mess with the most powerful nation on the world and think you're going to fight a war and win it.
But why do they do that, Ken? See, I think part of why they do that and what's going on, especially with what's in a bomb there, is we've been so soft with Mexico for so long. Not just the Biden years, other presidents before Trump have been very soft on them, have not really been stern about the border. Where Mexico's immigration laws are extremely tough, and their southern border is very secure, except for when they know that the only reason they want to come into Mexico is to travel through Mexico to the American border, where they're actually escorted in a very bizarre, that's another show, because I can tell you horrible stories from firsthand accounts of coyote trips. Point is, it's a tough nation, but we've been there, right? They've got great trade deals from us. We've built American factories there. We've been so lax on the border. We've allowed these tunnels that we know exist to exist. We've allowed drug traffic to be pumped into the country. When China started sending the precursor of fentanyl, they happily set up shop. When you look at all this, what indication did Mexico possibly have that they couldn't treat us like a bitch? None.
But Joe,
till Trump came.
Why did we take it for so many decades?
That's my question. Why?
Oh, I got the answer.
Go.
CCP. You got the picture?
PCP?
CCP. China.
Oh, CCP. Yeah, exactly. My point. Fentanyl.
Well, that goes
China
back
said, look, not just fentanyl, right? China has been trying to get their foothold in our hemisphere for decades. And we've been a little, in my opinion, lax on that. This whole thing that happened in Panama, kicking China out, and even look at what happened in Venezuela. For Christ's sakes, the Chinese diplomats were there the day before with the BRICS application in hand, and some of them, by the way, were still in Venezuela when we extracted Maduro. And China was upset about that. And it's like, where your people are is not a concern of what we need to do. So stuff it. But yes, China has been infiltrating Canada. They've been making the deals all through South America. We come in, we'll help you fix up this port, but we get to build our own port, okay? And the trade. And we've allowed it. But I can tell you who has talked about this for 40 years, and that's Donald Trump, because I can go back to the videotapes of the 80s and the Oprah Winfrey show when Trump was talking about it. That's the thing, Ken. Go look at the videos of Trump on Conan O'Brien, Oprah Winfrey, all of the talk shows, The View, when they loved him before he ran for president, when he wasn't a racist or a fascist. He was the only guy telling us that we're getting ripped off because of tariffs. We're getting ripped off because of the unfair trade agreements and imbalance. And for decades, we've been funding other countries' social programs because they don't have to fund a military, for example.
So go back to the 70s. Nixon with détente. China was a basket case. And Mao died eventually. So that was the hand around the throat of tens of millions of Chinese came off. And things evolved. You described Trump as a businessman recognizing part of that evolution and warning about it. And the culmination really took off when Bill Clinton became president, because he started to get bought off by the CCP.
Yeah.
A Lincoln bedroom. We can't forget that, can we?
And selling all kinds of stuff. And, and Barack Obama even sold the mini reactors, right?
Bingo. And what was Hunter Biden all about?
Mm-hmm.
He was simply the conduit of the CCP. He was on the missions with Dad going to the talk to the CCP.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise. So the party is nothing more than in line with the CCP because they want the same thing, the destruction of America. And if they can do it through drugs, why, that's a heck of a lot easier than traveling thousands and thousands of miles, which their Navy is incapable of attacking us like the Japanese did in World War II. They're totally incapable, but they're very capable of the sabotage that we're talking about.
Look, everybody's known, I think, Ken, for decades, that the only way to destroy America is from the inside out, to sow discourse and to cause the rift within the country and have us doing what they have us doing and spreading these false narratives of racism and classism and all that. And it does exist. But no, everybody knows, Ken, you can't take us head on with military action. It's not going to work out for you.
Exactly. So, Monroe Doctrine. Hello, Monroe Doctrine.
Exactly.
We get our future back. What do you know? Sounds like a good deal, doesn't it?
Sounds like a great deal. And that's why it's important that, guys, we keep both chambers of Congress squarely in the Republican column for the second half of this term, and that we pass the MAGA in the Trump doctrine, of more accurately, the America First doctrine, on to President Vance or DeSantis or Rubio, whoever it is, that they continue to carry this. Hey, or maybe Trump, he does his third term. I don't know. I don't think he should do that in his 80s. Point is, it's important that Trump isn't swatting away impeachment after impeachment in attempted prosecutions for the entire second half of his second term. So let's keep the chambers, both of them, in Republican hands, and then we got to deliver to the best of the three, or 4 or 5. I think we're going to have a very deep bench in 28. But whoever it shall be, President Vance or President Rubio, we got to keep it up. We got to keep it up. And we've got to keep an attorney general, Ken, that is going to continue to go after, including everything like Cash Patel. Whose cocaine was that? What was going on in China? what is happening with all of these nationals in universities with biolabs in residential housing and selling our research and our universities back to China. And these Chinese police stations scattered throughout the country. They're scattered throughout the world, by the way. But what's the deal with all that? Ken, I got to let you go. Final thought?
Hey, let's start with academia rooting out the CCP.
I agree.
Like Harvard.
Mm-hmm. Harvard, MIT, Caltech, Brown, pick them all. They're all of them. Ken, thank you for the call. Appreciate it. Always a good call. All right, guys, 508-871-7000. Join the conversation. We have a few minutes left here. Big night today, right? State of the Union address. You're going to watch it? Not watch it? I plan to watch it. That's my kind of thing, right? You do this kind of work. You kind of live for that stuff. Fresh off this 2026 Winter Olympics win, both U.S. men's and women's hockey teams won gold medals, very dramatic overtime victories against Canada. That was something. President Trump personally called the men's team in their locker room post-game via speakerphone, and it was Kash Patel's speakerphone. Kash Patel was there, got invited into the locker room. Why is this controversial? And listen, why do you care? It's petty, man. But yeah, he's in there. He calls the president, the director of the FBI, does this cool thing for the team, for the American team. You following me? For the American team, and calls the sitting president of the United States of America to let the team talk to the man. And he congratulated them enthusiastically, praising their unbelievable performance and inviting them to attend the State of the Union address tonight as honored guests, plus, of course, a White House visit. He did joke about having to bring the women's team or he'd probably be impeached. The guy is funny. He does make jokes. Lighten up on that. And then, of course, it's not going to be a seating problem because we've got Democrats rejecting it. They're not going good, because if they act like they did when Al Green was waving his cane and stuff, good. Stay the hell out of it. Stay out of it. But this State of the Union address is basically a midterm kickoff, guys. They got to sell the results. But we got to go. It's going to wrap up the Tuesday edition of the Joe Mangiacotti Show on AM 830 WCRN. That will do it for me. Back tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock. So let's go out, folks. You enjoy the rest of your day.